Hi, welcome to day 2 of the Selfish System Masterclass. How are we all? Let's have a look if I can see if anyone's catching me live, because I would like to pull up the comments. Let's have a look. Technology is not my forte. Okay, let's see. Hi. Okay. Good morning, Cynthia. Good morning, Akami. Yay. Hello, hello. Okay. I'm going to try and see if I can respond to comments because I would like a bit of interaction today because I find it very odd just speaking to myself. So yes, okay. I have the live chat there. Hopefully it will work. And okay, I'll check that in a minute. So today I'm going to quickly, if you didn't catch me, by the way, on day 1, you can. There's also pre-work. I have pinned the pre-work and day 1 to the top of the group, so you can catch up there if you didn't catch it. If you don't know who I am and you're new and you're just catching this day, then hi, I'm Emily. I'm a wellness consultant, coach, and mentor. What we covered yesterday, quick summary, okay? So drop in the chat what the problem is that you're focusing on, right? Because that's part of the pre-work, and day 1 we went over it as well. So yesterday we spoke about 3 very important things as far as I'm concerned. Yesterday we spoke about how our problems are not actually our problems. There are symptoms. They're symptoms of a deeper underlying problem, right? So that's the first very important piece to the whole puzzle. We've been focusing on the wrong thing. Not to like shame or cause any kind of problem with that, but it's helpful knowledge, right? To realize that we've been focusing on the wrong thing. It's not that we've been problem focused, we're symptom focused, okay? So the problems are not actually problems, they're symptoms of a deeper underlying problem, and that is where we need to start, okay? Then, I gave you guys an analogy. I love my analogies. And it was to demonstrate a shift in the approach that we have to our symptoms, right? Because we like to judge. We like to, well, we don't say we like to, but like that's what we do. We judge, especially what we don't know and we don't understand, right? So if we're struggling with anxiety, with anger, with self-sabotage, with habits, with addictions, with you name it, depression, like whatever it is that the symptom is that you are struggling with, we're shaming ourselves for it. We're judging ourselves for it. It's like, why does this keep happening? I hate this. Why can't this just stop? Why can't I just change? Why can't I be different? Why is this happening? Why can someone not take this away? Right? So, yes, I demonstrated an analogy, an important analogy about how shifting our approach and our perspective of our interpretation and our understanding of the symptom itself and the fact that it's actually trying to like help us and tell us something, then that's a very important piece, right? It's like how we approach something needs to be different, right? And then the last thing that we did yesterday, I also demonstrated how profound a shift in perspective and approach is and the potential that that has on changing your life, right? Because it is changing the experience of our reality, right? When we look at it from a different angle, when we come at it from a different approach, the potential for change is just like it's a completely different reality. Okay, so those are 3 very important pieces. So if you haven't watched day 1, please go and catch up and watch those pieces, because it is important. What you've been doing until now hasn't been working. Otherwise you wouldn't be here, right? Like whatever has been the way you've been approaching your symptoms and your problems and things, it hasn't worked. Like it hasn't created the change and the results that you really, really want, right? So change it up. We're going to go about it differently. And when you want to do something differently, our behaviors are dictated by our thoughts, which are dictated by our beliefs. Note that one down. Behaviors dictated by our thoughts, which are dictated by our beliefs, right? So you gotta check the beliefs. You gotta get curious about the beliefs and how you believe about things. Like that's where it is. And then you're going to be able to change how you think about it, which is going to change how you behave, right? So it's really important to focus on the mindset, on the beliefs, on how it is that you're approaching something. Okay, so like the belief you have about your symptom. If you think your symptom is something just really negative and really bad and really horrible and really awful, then that's something that has that been working for you? Like, how has that been going for you? Right? Your symptoms are actually opportunities. They are like windows, little portals into what's actually going on in there, right? So we want to, I'm not going to say embrace the symptoms, but it's coming at it with a different energy, with a different, like, okay, cool, let's listen. What's going on? I'm here. I'm willing to like sit with you and we'll get to the bottom of the actual problem. What's causing you? What is creating you? Like, why is this happening? Where is it coming from? But it's much easier to approach that when you come from a very genuinely curious place, as opposed to hateful, resentful, irritated, frustrated, angry, right? Like it's much easier when you embrace curiosity. Okay. So leading in, segue to my model, right? Because my model very much relies on curiosity. It's a big piece of it. But it is a different approach in and of itself, right? It's a different approach to mental health, physical health, wellness in general. It is a strategy. It is a system. It is a model. And I will explain how it is different. Going on to my next page of bullet points so I don't miss out anything, because I do really want to cover everything. So how I came about with this model, like where it comes from and why it's different. It isn't necessarily rooted in psychology per se, although it is in a roundabout way. It's business psychology. Okay, so funnily enough, when I realized I wanted to help people back in 2016 and decided I have to help myself first, yes, I had been on a self-development path, and you know, a lot of the work that I was doing on myself was rooted in behavior and psychology that I was like self-studying. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to go and do a master's in psychology or a social work. I actually thought of social work first. And then I was like, okay, psychology. But then I realized that I'm about efficiency and effectiveness. And I was just like, I really want to solve problems, and not necessarily at the time. I didn't realize it was going to be, you know, personal problems. I wanted to solve world problems, big problems. So I found myself going for a master's in organizational behavior and development, as I think I mentioned yesterday. And it's funny how life leads us down certain paths, and you're like, I wonder where this is going to lead. So I had this idea and this goal, and I ended up finding myself in a business psychology degree, right? Now, it was one of the most profound 2 years of my life, hands down. It was literally like the best therapy I've ever had, I feel, because a huge focus was on our own self-awareness, because as a consultant, you don't want to be going into an organization, a company, a business, and kind of bringing your own baggage with you in a way and letting that affect your investigation and your diagnoses of the problems, behavioral problems within the company. Like, you have to be very conscious and aware of your own biases, your own implicit biases, the things that you're bringing with you, right? So awareness was huge. Like, there was 2 years of practicum where we had to literally journal. At the end of every practicum session, we had to journal about the session, and then every assignment, the practicum assignment, it was based on our journal entries. It was just like, it was very intensive, and it was incredible. And most of my professors were psychology professors. I had loads of different psychology classes. I ended up being a teacher's assistant for the undergrad psychology students in positive psychology because I loved it so much. Positive psychology was like amazing. Sorry, going off track. So the point is that what I learned was that the consulting process was analyzing the symptoms of a problem within an organization, so that we look for themes, we look for patterns, and we do it through interviews and collecting as much data as possible. That's like the first step. You collect data, interview employees, figure out what's going on. And then the second step is the diagnosis. So we actually figure out, based on the content analysis of all the themes and all the things that we found, all the patterns, what the actual root cause is. And you do that by asking a shit ton of questions. What, like my professor used to call it the herd of llamas, because llama in Hebrew is why. So it's like, why again, until you get to the bottom. Like, why is this happening? Oh, okay. So why is that happening? Oh, okay. And why is that? Literally, like, just ask a lot of questions and a lot of whys. But I'll get to my adaptation of it in a minute, but I'm giving the background, right, where it came from, where it's rooted in. So yeah, then you get to the diagnosis stage, and then you get to like presenting it to the company, and you've done the research, you figured out best practices, what other companies, what other organizations, what other people have done based on the root cause that you find, and then you tailor and customize a specific solution for that company and for their problem and their needs, et cetera, and then you implement. So if it's workshop facilitation, if it's executive coaching, if it is referring to someone else like a specialist or an expert, then that's great. Like, that's the consultant's kind of role. Like, that's how it works. That's the model. Okay. And so, not surprisingly, I actually started applying this. I think it was even subconsciously, to myself and my own problems. But the thing is that this consulting model has been developed through intensive and extensive study and research within the business world, right? Because our world runs on money, right? Money makes the world go around. Like, our society is built on an economy that is literally built on making money and profits, right? Profit is what makes everything else kind of work and run. Like, societal development is literally built on capitalism right now, right? Like, making money. The Industrial Revolution, right? And so at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, this was like 120 years ago, was the first book published applying psychology to business, because they realized that they really want to realize how to make humans perform at their best. And so it became scientific, right? Scientific management is the first iteration of business consulting. And so then it developed over time, and we found that, like, I remember one of the first things we were taught was that humans worked better and performed better when they had breaks. And so we had breaks throughout the day. We were given a day off during the week, so I apologize, by the way, if you hear my dog barking. It's driving me nuts. And I've not got my noise cancelling mic on, so apologies. Ugh. Anywho, point is that we had Hold on, I have to silence the dog. Hold on a second. I do apologize. Okay, where was I? So just let me know that you see me and that I'm back and that everything is good. Okay. So the idea is basically is that this consulting model on how to solve problems, behavioral problems, increasing efficiency, productivity, performance, developed within this space, within, inside of businesses and organizations. And over time, we realize that we can apply psychology to it because it's humans. Organizations are literally just groups of people working together, right? It is literally like a mini model of society, right? So I went into my master's applying this to society, okay? And I realized that worked as well. Like I could analyze all of the problems that we have in the world. And so if I say problems are symptoms, then all the symptoms in the world that we have today, it's war, it's poverty, it's greed, it's racism, it's rape, it's violence, it's, whatever, it's like all of it, all these different problems. If they're symptoms, then why? You get to the root cause. Why do we have war and conflict? And I went to the root of it. Why do we have poverty? Why do we have racism? And at the root of every single thing, I got to this conclusion that the root cause of all of the world's symptoms, the underlying problem is generational trauma and social conditioning. It is a lack of awareness, a lack of resources, a lack of education around ourselves and how this works, and understanding. When you understand yourself, you can understand the other, and then you get it's just, yeah. And a lack of access to resources for healing from trauma, right? Because if we're just operating on trauma and generational trauma, and the cycle keeps going and going and going, we're just perpetuating the same cycle. There is no they call it cycle breakers, right? You become a cycle breaker when you know better, so that you can do better and be better and feel better, and you break that cycle, right? And so, yeah, I reached this conclusion that the root cause of all the world's problems is rooted in trauma and conditioning, basically. But we can solve that with education and resources, right? And so, yeah, so then when COVID came around and I started launching my business, and I was just like, I realized I was applying this model. I'd been trained in it, right? And I was just like, okay, this is an organization. This is a system. We have different pieces within us, and I will be covering that tomorrow, okay? I have a little kind of analogy model, kind of metaphor for that. But the point is that it works. It works on this organization as well. It works on this system, the self-ish system. It works. So that is my approach as well when I work with my clients. And then in my program, I use the approach, but I also teach it, because I really do realize that we underestimate ourselves. Okay, we hugely underestimate ourselves, right? We are conditioned in this organization that is society, that we can't solve our problems, that we have to just perpetuate them, that we're constantly in the cycle of this trauma, and that's just what it is. I remember saying to my parents, I want to change the world, like when I was like way back. And they're like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, this is the way it is. You can't change anything. Like, we can't change anything. And it's like, I would complain and be like, oh my God, like, why is it this way? They're like, it just is. That's the way life is. That's life. You can't do anything about it, right? Okay. So that's basically how my model came to be. And as I started applying it to myself and to my clients, and I saw that I could adapt it, I could tweak it a bit. And so there's the 4-step strategy of the problem solving. So it's the analysis, diagnosis, research, and then implementation. And I just changed the words to make it an acronym so that it's easy to remember IDEA. So it's investigation, discovery, education, application. Now I changed diagnosis to discovery, by the way, because in some countries, I think like the US, it would be a bit of an issue saying diagnosis when I'm not a certified psychologist. So I changed that to discovery. However, I'm getting better results than psychologists. I will come to that. However, back to the things. So there's investigation, discovery, education, application. You investigate the symptom. You ask a lot of questions, get to the root cause, discover what it is, look for themes, look for patterns. Where, let's say it's anxiety. When are you feeling anxiety? What does it feel like? How does it feel? How does it present itself? At what times of day? What do you do before? What do you do after? Why are you feeling that in that moment? Why do you think it is? Why do you think that? Like, ask as many questions that you can come up with as possible around the symptom, and then look for the themes, look for the patterns, content analysis. It is very hard to do it on yourself. It can be done, but obviously it's easier if someone else is helping you with it. However, it can be done. You can do this, right? So you investigate, take notes. If you haven't got pen and paper, get a pen and paper and take notes. Watch the replay, pause it, write it down. Investigation is the first step. Then it's discovery. You found the root cause, right? That is what you've discovered. And again, you might have to do this again and again with different parts of the symptom or multiple symptoms, right? So you have various root causes that you may need to address. And then you can literally just choose what's the most, important one for you right now to work on. Then after discovery, you have education. Get educated about it. Now you know what the root cause is. You're not fluffing about with the symptoms. You're not Googling anxiety and then having this like incredibly like infinite like what's the word? I'm blanking on the word, but like infinite answers and content and blogs and websites all about anxiety that you have to sift through. No, because that's the symptom. Remember, we're focusing on the problem now. Now you've figured it out. Okay, anxiety, by the way, it's fear-based. So it could be, it's a fear thing. What are you afraid of? What is the scary thing? Where did that begin? Why did that begin? How did that, like, get really curious, figure out the root cause. Then get educated about that. With practice, you'll also find it easier to sift through the BS online. Like, you'll know which blogs are ones that like you feel you can know, trust, and like, and which ones are not, which are good sources, credible sources, which are not, which are the very like generic, like, oh no. Oh, that's new, that's different. What's that? Maybe that one is an interesting one to check, right? And then you feel into the potential solutions that have worked for other people, and you find one that you think is best suited for you, right? Because remember, we're tailoring, we're customizing to the organization. That's you here, right? To the client. And so feel into the one that maybe the person that has had success with it is most like your situation, has similarities with you. Like, you look for the one that could be the best fit for you. And then you implement. Apply, application, idea, IDEA, and you apply. If it doesn't work, cool. Try something else. Trial and error is probably a little bit of the process, but at least you've narrowed down the pool. That was what I was looking for. Pool. Now you've narrowed down the pool of options that you're working with. It's not like a sea ocean of everything to do with anxiety. No, it is a very specific, very, very specific piece with specialized people. There's like 3 people that have actually like found success with healing this. And so then you're like, okay, which one should I try? Right? So it is saving you a shit ton of time, potentially a lot of money as well, throwing spaghetti at the wall with various therapists and coaches and stuff. And yeah, and a lot of energy as well, and effort and time. So the thing is about the model, like beyond that strategy, that's one piece, that's the framework. Okay, so that now gives you confidence. That gives you clarity. That gives you certainty. That gives you, it's like now you know what to do. in the face of a symptom, of a problem. It's like, something, I have something to hold on to. I have something that will guide me through this process. I'm not just like lost and desperate and you know, flailing around trying to keep my head above water, not knowing what to do, trying not to drown. It's like you've got a raft to hold on to that's gonna help you get to safety, right? I feel like I've totally gone off what I actually, like the order that I wanted to talk about this in. But then there's also the foundation. Okay, so it's the foundation piece, it's a two-tier model. So you've got the strategy piece, the framework, but then there's the foundation as well, which is very much around the knowledge gap that I feel really needs filling. And it is based on, so as I was putting together the model, I decided to do an like ad hoc content analysis on the decades worth of self-study and formal study that I had done. So I was looking at the self-development gurus, the self-help gurus, the positive psychologists, the forefathers, founding fathers of positive psychology and psychology, whether it was behavioral, whether it was in neuroplasticity or metacognition, or, you know, if it's Dr. Gabor Mate, Dr. Nicola Pera, Brene Brown, the Mel Robbins, the Tony Robbins, the like all these people that have all these, you know, wonderful insights and wisdom. Dog's barking again. Dude, don't get a yappy dog. I love her really. But I'm assuming there's someone outside. So basically, all of these wonderful, great minds of our time, right? So I like did a content analysis and I looked for themes and I looked for patterns. I was like, I'm an analyst. Like, let's analyze all of the content and all of the shit that I've been learning and studying that has been helping me, that is helping millions, not just me, right? Like just Dr. Nicola Pera alone has like 6 million plus followers on her Instagram. And by the way, if you don't follow her, go follow her. She's incredible. She's been a huge inspiration for my work. I have her book up there that she gifted me because I was one of her founders in her healing circle, self-healer circle. Anyway, she's amazing, right? So it's like millions of people have found their teachings and their insights and their tools and their things to work. So I did a content analysis on all of it. What are the main themes that everyone covers, that everyone's like common denominators, right? Like, let's analyze this shit and see what's really, why is it working? What is working? And I came up with 4 themes, 4 pillars, I call them, of self-development, self-healing, self-actualizing, self-whatever, right? Discovery, growth, whatever you want to call it. And so it is curiosity, across the board curiosity, right? And that's the first piece as well. And the third, it's the first step and the third step. Investigation and education both belong to curiosity. So it's like half of the strategy is curiosity. But look at curiosity shrinks. They ask a lot of questions. The whole thing, the whole like approach is based on questions, right? Asking guiding questions. Coaches as well. They all have models and approaches that are based around guiding questions. Dr. Gabor Mate, his whole model is called compassionate inquiry. Questions. In positive psychology, appreciative inquiry. Asking questions. Like, in the consulting model, the first step is the investigation, collecting data phase. Curiosity is the overarching, like, first pillar, right? Get curious. If you can embrace curiosity in your own self-development journey and literally question everything, the first, as a TA for, I was about to be a TA for intro to psychology for this, like, undergrads when I was about to do my PhD. And the first slide, the first day was critical thinking. Literally, if you go and study a degree in psychology, that's what you're going to learn on your first day, intro to psych. Critical thinking, question things, question everything, right? I am all about challenging the status quo, but redefining it. Like, it is literally, I think curiosity is probably what saved me. Like, and so, yes, curiosity is one. Then there is conditioning. the discovery piece and the application piece. It's conditioning and reconditioning, step 2 and 4 of the model, right? It's about conditioning. And as I said, my conclusion to like the world problems, it's rooted in conditioning, right? It's what we are programmed with. It is a huge piece of the model. So I teach about conditioning. And then we have at the heart of the model, we have conditions. Okay. Conditions, it's very much, again, across the board, something that is relevant. I think even Dr. Nicola Parra mentioned that the first question any shrink should ask a patient is, are you sleeping? Are you eating? Are you moving? Are you expressing yourself? And do you have emotional support? Like I call it the big five. Now, the big five, that does change depending on who you're speaking to with regards to like, you know, the self-help gurus and stuff. But I narrowed it down to a main five, right? So that's the conditions. You need specific conditions to grow, right? Like we're living things like plants. They need, if you're not going to give a plant the water and the sunlight, then it's not going to grow. Like it's just fact. Although there are some plants that don't need whatever. It depends on the plant. It depends on the human. But most humans, very, very generally, I think we can all agree that there are certain things that humans need, right? We need food. We need good food, right? Yes, you can survive X amount of years on bad food, but your body is going to malfunction. Like things are going to go wrong. You're going to get diseases. You're going to get illnesses. You're not going to feel good. You're not going to, you know, function very well if you're putting in the wrong kind of petrol, right? Like the wrong kind of gas. The car's not going to work very well or for very long. Eventually it will break down, okay? So the nutrition is an important piece. And also 95% of serotonin is produced in the gut. So just saying, mood is hugely influenced by what you eat. And drink, by the way, which reminds me, I want to hydrate. We need water, a lot. We really, really, really need a lot of water. So like fill up your bottles all the time. If you do anything, drink more water. I'm probably pretty sure that you don't drink enough, most of you. Some of you are on that, so that's cool. But yeah, conditions. So there's food, there's sleep. Surprising how many people struggle with their sleep and actually don't have a good sleep routine and don't sleep very well. Movement. Surprising how many people don't move their butts enough. And can I just say, I've been walking again in the mornings, but like proper kind of workout walk in the mornings, and it is such a game changer. I can feel like now that I keep getting more and more and more in tune with my body and with myself and more sensitive. And like the more we learn to listen, we can hear the whispers and everything. And it's like, I can feel the difference if I've had a morning walk or not. Like I'm less hungry. I less cravings. Like it is a complete game changer. You find what works for you though, right? Okay. And then there's self-expression, play, joy. We lose that. Most of us had that in childhood and we lose it. We disconnect from that. And part of this is connecting to the self, right? So it's important to be creative, self-expressive. How self-expressive are you being throughout your day? And the last one is support, emotional support, community, belonging. It's very, very important to us. Research, Dr. Gabor Mate actually showed that research has shown that having emotional support with stress makes, if you don't have emotional support and you're stressed, women are 9 times more likely to get cancer. There is a correlation, causal potentially relationship, if I'm not mistaken, with emotional support, especially when stressed. And we know that stress is a big problem for us today. Okay. Guys, are we following? Is anyone saying anything? I'm just going to check for a second. Just want to see. Okay. Yay. All right. So those are the 5 conditions. And then the last piece is commitment, right? So the 4 pillars: curiosity, conditioning, conditions, and commitment. Okay, and tomorrow we're going to talk about commitment. So that's the 4 C's, the 4 pillars, and that's on top of the 4-step strategy. So it is a 2-tier model, the selfish system, that I have put into a program where I will explain in a second. I could segue into that, I guess. In a second. I'll skip and then I'll come back. Okay. It is a 2-tier process that I have put into a program in a way that it's designed to also be a familiar kind of format, right? Like most of us went to school. I think all of us did. So I've set it up like an actual syllabus, like an actual curriculum. So it's 6 months of a crash course, basically. And then another 6 months for practice and implementation, because it's a mentorship program, right? It's a training program. So the first 6 months is split into 3 units, right? Unit 1, we cover the 4 pillars. We deep dive into the 4 pillars. Unit 2, we cover the strategy. We go over the 4 steps of the strategy. Unit 3, I have a toolbox. Toolbox, all the tools that I love, that I've used, that I know, trust, and like, and I brought in guest experts as well with that, because there are many tools that I'm not well versed in, like breath work, for example. So I brought in a guest expert to do a breath work session. And so that is all there. It's all pre-recorded. You get 1 module a week with an assignment. That is the 6 months. And then the following 6 months is for practice and implementation integration, because you go back to things, you go back, maybe you missed something, maybe you need to recap, maybe you want to remember something else, maybe something's popped up and it's like, oh, so you have 12 months of access to these modules. And over those 12 months, there's also weekly group calls for hot seat coaching, for support, for connecting, for access to me. You also get, in between all of that, access to me anyway, text and audio support, because as I said yesterday, I really didn't like when in therapy I had to wait a week between sessions to get help, basically. As the program, by the way, grows and gets bigger, then I will make that into a weekly Q&A instead. But for now, you get access to me, which audio and text support. So it's a higher touch offer right now, right? But that's the way the program actually works. It's the way the system is designed. So you get the foundation, you get the framework, you get tools, you get, and they constantly will get updated and upgraded as I go. Like I have for the summer, I've got a few guest expert calls already lined up about nutrition, about belief coding. I very much want to get hypno breathwork one in, and a whole bunch of different tools that I've got coming up for my masterclasses. So I'll record them and put them in there as well. And yeah, there's also, I'll go into later at the end, well, we're nearly at the end, but at the end, I will talk a little bit about the program and enrollment and everything. But that was just, I want you to know like what it looks like, right? Because the goal is to really fill this knowledge gap. This is a program that I am then going to turn into a syllabus and curriculum and textbooks and children's books and books. Like this is my baby, right? But this is the core of it. Next year, I'm going to hopefully be certifying people in this as well, certifying other coaches and therapists and practitioners. But this for now is for those of you here that really want to get educated, empowered, and equipped to solve your own problems. That is my goal. That is what I'm on a mission to do, because I needed that and it didn't exist. So I created it. And it blows my mind how like my life has led me to actually creating this. Like it feels very much meant to be kind of thing. And the idea is as well, it's to help you find what works for you. because this is another issue that I have come across. It came to me when I'm in an online Facebook group of like 20,000 women, and there's always these anonymous like posts where women are asking for help with something. Now they're asking for help with a symptom and they're referring it to it as a problem, right? I'm struggling with my weight. I'm struggling with my anxiety. I'm struggling with my relationship. I'm struggling with whatever. And then you see the thread of like tens, if not hundreds of comments of women trying to come to the rescue, and obviously very well intentioned. It's amazing to see the support on these threads, right? But they're coming at it from like, this helped me, this helped me, this helped me, this helped me, this is your problem, no, this is your problem, no, this is your problem, no. And then they start arguing between themselves, like, no, how dare you recommend pills? Pills, you shouldn't be recommending pills. No, but the pills really work for me, and maybe it's a thyroid issue, so then pills would be the answer. And then, and like, oh my goodness. And I can just imagine these like poor women that are struggling with their symptoms and having like a flood of beautiful, well-intentioned help come to them, right? All this support, but it is like, how do you navigate all of that then? Which one of those like 100+ suggestions is actually going to work for me? Do I have a thyroid issue? No. Do I have this issue? Maybe. Is it this? Okay. Oh, and then there's like another 12 people that have said that helped them, that helped them. And then that one said that it didn't help them. So should I try it? Should I not try it? And then obviously it's like the analysis paralysis kind of thing where you just get stuck. You stay stuck. You stay lost. And so what my system helps you do is realize that A, it's a symptom, not a problem. First get to the problem. Then when you get to the problem, you know which piece is going to be relevant for you, right? And you wouldn't be posting anonymously anyway. You wouldn't be posting at all because you'll be figuring it out. Now, this is something else that I then wanted to I wanted to kind of give another bit of an analogy about the beauty, if I may, of this system, right? So if you imagine that your life, your life, let's say, is a car, okay, and there's a problem. Something's malfunctioning, something's not working, the car's breaking down or broken down, or there's like lights going off. You're like, what is wrong? What is wrong with the car? I don't know what's wrong with the car. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know. So you take it to a garage, right? Now, garage number one is traditional therapy, okay? Traditional therapy at garage number one is very much a theoretical kind of space, but they'll come in and they'll say, so tell me what's wrong with your car. And how does that feel? And what happened? Where did you come from? When did it begin? When did it start? They talk a lot and they ask a lot of questions about the problem and the symptoms of the car, like the problem, what is going on? Why isn't it malfunctioning? And then you kind of sit and you chat about it. And you kind of try and figure it out that way, but you don't really get very far. You're never guaranteed to actually leave with a functional car. And you can be stuck there for a really long time. I'm very much oversimplifying and overgeneralizing, but this has literally been my personal experience with therapy. And I know that there have been like great experiences with therapy, but I do believe that the great experiences with therapy are the ones that came in and then the mechanic was like, oh, that light came on at what point? Oh, at that point. Okay, cool. And then they figured it out like that. Like it was something quite kind of obvious or basic or shallow kind of at the surface, or maybe even deeper, but it was, no, my point is I'm oversimplifying, but my personal experience has been that it has very much been, let's talk about it. Let's just talk about the problem and why it's wrong and how that happened and where have you been? Then talk to me about the journey that to get you here to the garage. Okay, feel that we may have understood number one. Number two, garage number two is coaching, right? So you take your car to this garage, to the coaching garage, and this is really a good garage because they actually have mechanics that actually fix things. The thing is that it's specialized, right? It's like it's niched. So the coaching garage is usually when you know what it is that has gone wrong with the car, right? So you're like, hi, air conditioning doesn't work. Cool, air conditioning mechanic, come fix, right? So it's like when the coaching garage is very good when you know what the actual problem is, as opposed to, you're dealing with the symptoms kind of thing. And the thing is as well, though, I would just make a little side note, because there are a lot of coaching mechanics that aren't really good mechanics. Like they might overcharge you, they might get it wrong, they might just be like kind of snake oil salesmen, and they'll just sell you on a bus ticket and say you don't need a car, just go get a bus kind of thing. Like, you have to be careful with the coaching garage, right? And so if any of you, by the way, know what your problem is and you want a specialized, specific coach or professional or expert or therapist or whatever, let me know. I have some really, really awesome friends and colleagues and peers in this space, and I would be more than happy to refer, okay? But then there's the third garage, my one, the selfish system garage, that it's a little bit different to the other two. Because what you get at this garage is you learn how the car works. You learn the main ideas, the main concepts about the engine, about the this, about the that, about the electrics, and like, you learn how it works. You essentially kind of become a bit of a mechanic yourself. Because often the problem is something that you can solve by yourself. Or you can find this, that you will then know what is wrong with it, so you know which specialized mechanic you want for the job. And then you will be able to really save a lot of time and a lot of energy trying to figure out which mechanic you need at garage number 2, right? So that's my garage. So my garage saves you time and energy and money, because you come in saying, I'm going to learn about what the needs are, what the problem actually is, and how to solve it, or how to find the right way to solve it for me, for my car. Like, there's the BMW garage, there's the Mercedes garage, there's the Honda garage, there's this garage, like, okay, what car am I? What garage do I need? And then what's the actual problem with it? And it's saving you time. All right. Now, the added benefit of that, when you then understand how something works, you have an added confidence, right? Because you know what's going on, right? So you have the clarity, you have the certainty, you have the knowledge, you have the awareness. You can then also trust yourself and depend on yourself and rely on yourself. And then what comes with that is self-respect as well, and self-worth, self-esteem, right? All of these things that so many of it, like self-love, basically, is the bottom line, right? But like all these pieces, they are like the byproduct of knowing what you're doing and what to do about it, kind of thing. Like, you get all of this added benefit, and it is just, yeah. Next page. Nearly done. I'm at the end. Okay. So, yeah. So back to my program, because I kind of segued into that before the garage thing, and I wanted to explain the garage thing to you, because that kind of puts the results into kind of perspective, right? Okay, results. I have been given explicit permission from one of my group members. The other ones I didn't get permission, I didn't ask about, but this one, I explicitly asked it because I've been ranting and raving about her all week, because it has been this week that she has been sharing her results with the group. So this one amazing lady inside of my program, she has spent 23 years struggling with chronic pain, popping painkillers left, right, and center. And she was struggling with pain for 23 years. Most of her life, she had pain, migraines, neck pain, shoulder pain, back pain, like pain. And it got to the point where it was obviously very, very bad. And she came into the program because she was like, I need to solve my problem. And There are a few other things there as well. So we've got other things to work on, but this piece was a big piece. She said to me yesterday on our call, like, if I, like, when she came into the program, she's like, if I could just be pain-free, like, that would mean everything to me. She has, after 23 years, using the strategy, using the foundation, the knowledge, and then the tools and the framework to then go and find what works for her. We, you know, together we got to the root cause, and then she went and researched and found something that worked for her. I didn't even have to customize the solution for her. Like, I gave her the framework, I gave her the information, I gave her the things, and then she went off and she did it. And she found some tools that were free, and she did it. She applied the tools because she found someone that had the exact specific thing, right? She has been pain-free, bar 2 days, for the month of June. She was taking like she was looking at how many days of pain she's been having last few months, because she was about to go to a pain specialist. She had like an appointment and everything. She canceled it. But like in May, she had 20 plus days of pain. I think she said 26. I'm not sure, but 20 something days of pain out of like the 30 days of May, 30 days and something. 31 days of May. June, 2 days. And she knows why. She knows what triggered her on those 2 days. Like, she was essentially pain-free for the first month in 23 years. I'm still registering that. Like, it's a big deal. Like, that is huge. Can you imagine spending most of your life in pain? Maybe some of you are, by the way. That's insane. And like, literally, all it is knowledge, like a foundation and a framework. Like, that's it. It's just so, it's simple. It's not easy to like implement per se, but it is literally, you know, you make the commitment, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, and you show up and you do, you learn, you implement, do some research, implement, like, and it's doable. Like, we can solve our problems. We can heal. We really, really, truly can. So I also wanted to see quickly, I'm going to try something. I don't know if this is going to work, because I also have a video testimonial, but I have never tried to share my screen with a live Zoom, or maybe I did once and it failed miserably. So I was like, I'm not going to do that again. Okay. Let's see if I can do this in a way. It won't be seamless at all, so apologies in advance, but I would like you to, here we go. Optimize for video clip. Okay. I would like someone else's, like, you know, someone else to say something and not just me. So let's see if it works. All right.
Me live, feel free to say hi. Let me know that you are here with me. This is gonna be a quickie. I wanted to jump on and express my immense gratitude and thanks and share with you guys about something amazing that has been rocking my world. I have been in the Selfish System program with Emily Katz since December, so for the last 3 months. And it's an amazing program. She is freaking amazing. So much love, so much gratitude. And it's been 3 months. I spent 10 years way back when in therapy, and it was good to a point, but did not get me where I wanted to go. And that was bridging a huge gap that it was not helping me with. I felt like a hamster spinning on a wheel rather than somebody who is making forward progress. And then after 10 years in therapy, I spent 10 years in a personal development system trying to use tools of consciousness and healing work and energy work to bridge this gap. And the gap just felt like it got even bigger. In some ways, it didn't. It felt like I was living more of the life that I wanted to be living, but I didn't feel like I was enjoying it. I was feeling really burnt out. It didn't feel like I was living my life. And so 10 years of that, and I had all of these amazing, really powerful tools in my toolbox that I knew worked and worked for other people. I saw them working. I was able to help other people with them, but I was still really struggling and frustrated for myself. And with the support of Emily and the program and the other women in this program, it felt like what I got from therapy was tools to cope with and get by with and keep going with what I was dealing with, and to manage. And what occurred was all of that came up, and it was like, okay, coping is not good enough anymore. That's not going to get me where I want to go. So how do I deal with this stuff and actually upgrade and move forward and get to have the life that I want? And that's part of why I wanted to be part of this program in the first place, is hearing Emily's story, and she's so inspirational, and she's living a life, what I call like a pinch me life. And I think she talks about it that way too, of like, this is my life, like it's amazing, this is a dream. And I just, to hear her story and the transformation and the life that she's living, not that I want to be living her life, but that she is so satisfied and happy in her life. And I know other people who have that level of satisfaction in their life. So I knew it was possible. I just didn't know how to make it possible for me. And so in working with her and through her program, I'm finding that's getting closer and closer and closer. And I'm so excited because now it's feeling like that gap, this massive gap that felt like the Grand Canyon, is finally starting to close, and the life that I am dreaming of is starting to feel more and more possible. And I'm so freaking excited. So do it with a friend. It's super affordable for the value, the massive, massive value. And she's just so brilliant, and it's just so much love, so much gratitude. And the women that she has in her space, in her community, that she brings together, are all so amazing, and I'm so grateful. So I just wanted to hop on real quick, share that invitation with you.
Okay. Oh, that's a bell. Okay. I cut out a little piece there. If you notice the glitch that I so smoothly cut, is because she talks about like a special offer that is no longer applicable. Sorry, but there is a special offer, actually, a different one. That's why I had to cut that one out. And I stopped it before the end because she was just gonna. She said she was dropping my links and like thank you and more very sweet stuff. But you got the gist. I didn't want it to be too long. There's an early bird registration bonus. So the next enrollment officially opens today. Okay. Tomorrow we're going to cover a commitment piece, a little bit more of mindset and belief to really get you kind of like pumped up and like, yes, you can do this. That is my goal for tomorrow. So come to that, but enrollment has opened. If you're interested in joining the program, it is currently still priced at 2,400 euros for the whole year. That works out to like 50 euros a week, which is half the price of your traditional shrink, like at least. So the early bird registration bonus is if you sign up by the 4th of July, we start like officially we start on the 7th. But if you sign up by the 4th of July, so I've given you a couple of days, you get the weekend, giving some time for the replays, those of you watching on replay, so that you have a bit of time. 4th of July is the cutoff for the early bird bonus, which it's going to be monthly one-on-ones with me. And that is valued at 1,800 euros, 1,800 euros worth of one-on-ones with me. You get added on if you sign up by the 4th of July. That's a lot of money that I'm giving away because I really, really, really want to incentivize you guys that little bit more to like come and change your life, because this is, it's possible, it's doable. I also obviously want more results and more testimonials and like to keep this momentum going. It's so cool. Early bird registration, the 12-month program, 2,400 plus that bonus by the 4th of July. And then obviously there are one-on-ones, limited spaces, and not at the same price point. So one-on-ones, I have 3-month packages, 6-month packages, 12-month packages. 3-month packages, we usually focus on like one area because it does take some time to collect the data and to diagnose like and do all the things. And I kind of use the framework on you for you. I consult for you. So I'm like a consultant coming into your organization, and I literally do the process for you and customize a solution for you. That's the 3-month package. 6 months, you get that. Plus I start teaching you on the framework yourself, because 6 months, I think usually will allow for enough time for me to also kind of train you in the framework for yourself. 12 months is obviously, you get a year of me. We work through a couple of the problems and the framework and set you up. But yeah, like the 3-month is 1,800 euros for weekly sessions with access to me in between. Don't forget. And then the 6 months is 3,333 euros. Again, weekly sessions with access to me in between. And then the 12 months is 6K. Weekly sessions, access for me in between. You also will get access to any, modules or tools or, things that I have in the program too. It's just a higher touch point. You get me every week and priority. So that's the one-on-one. But I really feel that this program I'm getting obviously results with all the clients, but the program is just something that I really, really want to build on. I don't know if I will keep running the program through social media. I do plan on taking it to B2B. So this may or may not be the last time I do it here and I run it here, but for now, this is the offer. And this is how I'm doing it. And I would be honored to help you on your journey, heal yourself, solve your problems, and ultimately like self-actualize, right? It is about fulfilling your potential and literally living the life that you are meant to be living, that you are designed to be living, that you deserve to be living, right? That's it. I went 3 minutes over today. I do apologize. I think that makes up for like the couple of minutes here and there at the beginning that I stalled for a bit because I was just checking that things are working. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for showing up. Those of you that came live, I really appreciate you. You made me feel like I wasn't talking to myself. I did want to maybe leave time for Q&A, but I'm out of time. We're going to cut it here. If you do have questions, I started a little chat, so drop your questions into there and I'll try and answer them tomorrow. Those of you watching the replay, thank you to you too. I'm really honored that you guys are in my space. And if you feel that this is something that can help someone else, or someone, there is someone in your life, in your world, maybe it's a sibling or a friend or a colleague that has been struggling with something, share this with them. Like, send it their way. I really want to get 10 people into the program because I want to change 10 lives. I want to help 10 people change their lives. I can do 10, I think. I've increased it. I know the summer's coming and I want to spend it with my kids, but I think I can do 10. And so if you know someone, maybe you were meant to watch this so that you could share it with them and then they could change their life and heal themselves. Okay, that's it. Bye. Love you all. See you tomorrow.